Most people over 60 wake up and immediately do something that quietly pushes their body in the wrong direction for the rest of the day. Not because they're careless, but because nobody ever explained what the body is actually doing in those first few minutes after waking up. And here's the strange part. While you're asleep, your body may already be trying to repair damaged proteins, stabilize inflammation, rebalance blood sugar, and clean out worn-out cellular debris. But the first thing you drink each morning can either support that process or interrupt it almost instantly. Now let me be very clear. There is no miracle drink that cures cancer, regenerates organs overnight, or magically activates stem cells. Anyone promising that is misleading you. But there is growing scientific evidence that certain morning habits may support healthier metabolic signaling, reduce chronic stress inside the body, and help create an internal environment that is less favorable for disease and more supportive of healthy aging. And after 50, that matters more than most people realize. Because aging is not just about wrinkles or slower joints. Aging is deeply connected to chronic low-grade inflammation, unstable blood sugar, cellular stress, and declining repair systems that gradually wear the body down from the inside out. Today, I'm going to show you a surprisingly simple morning water ritual that may help support hydration, kidney function, metabolic health, and even some of the body's natural cellular cleanup pathways that researchers now believe play an important role in healthier aging. And the most powerful part of this routine is not what most people think. I'm Dr. Richard Vance, and let's begin with what actually happens inside your body overnight. When you sleep, your body enters a very different biological state than it experiences during the day. You're not eating. Insulin levels typically fall. Digestion slows. And for several hours, the body shifts away from constant nutrient processing and begins focusing more heavily on maintenance and repair. Now, this does not mean your body suddenly becomes toxin-free overnight. That's not how human biology works. Your liver and kidneys are already performing detoxification every single day, whether you drink lemon water or not. But during overnight fasting, the body may begin increasing activity in certain cellular housekeeping pathways, including something called autophagy. Autophagy literally means self-eating, and while that sounds alarming, it's actually one of the most fascinating survival systems in the human body. Think of it like an internal cleanup crew. Damaged proteins, malfunctioning cellular parts, worn-out mitochondria, the tiny power plants inside your cells, can begin accumulating as we age. Over time, that buildup may contribute to inflammation, metabolic dysfunction, and age-related decline. Autophagy helps the body identify some of that damaged material and recycle it. And this is where things get especially important after 60, because aging cells often become less efficient at cleanup and repair. The result? More oxidative stress, more inflammatory signaling, less metabolic flexibility, and a body that becomes increasingly vulnerable to fatigue, insulin resistance, cardiovascular disease, and other chronic conditions. But that's only part of the story. By morning, many older adults are also mildly dehydrated, and dehydration after 50 affects far more than thirst. Blood becomes slightly more concentrated, kidney filtration may become less efficient, energy drops, cognitive sharpness may decline. Even joint discomfort can feel worse. Why? Because the body's water balance system changes with age. Older adults often experience a weaker thirst response, meaning the body may already need fluids before thirst is even noticeable. So what happens next matters enormously. Because many people unknowingly sabotage this entire overnight repair state within minutes of waking up. A large, sugary coffee drink, sweetened juice, processed breakfast pastries, highly refined carbohydrates, and suddenly insulin surges upward again. Inflammatory pathways become more active, blood sugar spikes, energy crashes later in the day become more likely, and the body shifts right back into metabolic overload mode. This is why the first thing you drink in the morning may matter more than people realize. Now here's where plain water becomes surprisingly powerful. Not magical, not trendy, just biologically important. Water supports circulation. It helps maintain blood volume. It supports kidney filtration. It helps nutrients move through the bloodstream. And the kidneys, which filter roughly 50 gallons of blood every single day, depend heavily on proper hydration to function efficiently. After 60, protecting kidney health becomes increasingly important because kidney filtration naturally declines with age, and chronic dehydration may quietly increase strain on the kidneys over time. But here's what most people never get told. The real benefit of morning water may not come from flushing toxins. It may come from helping the body stabilize itself before the metabolic chaos of the day begins. And this is where some people add two very specific ingredients: lemon and apple cider vinegar. Now, before you roll your eyes because you've heard internet gurus claim these ingredients cure everything from cancer to dementia, let's separate myth from actual biology. Let's start with lemon. Lemon water is often exaggerated online as some kind of miracle detoxifier. It isn't. But that does not mean it's useless. Lemons contain vitamin C and citric acid. And citric acid is especially interesting because it may help increase citrate levels in urine, which can reduce the risk of certain types of kidney stones in susceptible individuals. That's important because kidney stone risk increases with dehydration and metabolic dysfunction. Lemon may also gently stimulate saliva and digestive secretions, helping some people feel more awake and hydrated in the morning. And vitamin C acts as an antioxidant, helping reduce oxidative stress inside the body. Now, antioxidants are not magic bullets either. But oxidative stress is essentially cellular wear and tear, a kind of internal rusting process that accumulates with aging, inflammation, smoking, poor diet, high blood sugar, and environmental stress. Reducing excessive oxidative stress may help support healthier aging over time. Again, subtle, not miraculous, but biologically meaningful. And this is where things begin getting more interesting. Because the next ingredient has far more research behind it than most people realize: apple cider vinegar. Specifically the acetic acid inside it. Now let me say this carefully. Apple cider vinegar does not cure cancer. It does not melt fat overnight. And it absolutely does not alkalize your body. Your blood pH is tightly regulated by your lungs and kidneys. If it changed dramatically, you would be in the hospital. But acetic acid may influence metabolism in several fascinating ways. Some studies suggest it may modestly improve insulin sensitivity and reduce the size of blood sugar spikes after meals. Why does that matter? Because chronically elevated blood sugar and chronically elevated insulin are deeply connected to inflammatory aging. Excess glucose in the bloodstream can damage blood vessels, proteins, nerves, and tissues over time. This process is sometimes called glycation. Think of it like sugar slowly caramelizing inside the body. And over decades, that damage accumulates, especially in the eyes, kidneys, brain, heart, and arteries. But the story gets deeper. High insulin levels may also encourage the body to remain in constant storage mode, rather than repair mode. Now, insulin itself is not bad. You need insulin to survive. The problem is persistent metabolic overload, constant snacking, constant sugar spikes, constant inflammatory signaling. And this may be one reason researchers are becoming increasingly interested in fasting periods and metabolic flexibility. Metabolic flexibility simply means the body can efficiently switch between burning glucose and burning stored energy when appropriate. Many people lose this flexibility with age, especially after years of ultra-processed diets and sedentary living. And this is where a simple morning routine may help reinforce healthier biological rhythms. Here's a practical version many people tolerate well. 1 large glass of room temperature or warm water. Optional, half a lemon squeezed into the water. And optionally, 1 teaspoon to 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar diluted thoroughly. Not straight, never straight. Because undiluted vinegar can damage tooth enamel and irritate the esophagus. Using a straw may also help reduce enamel exposure. Now this is critical. If you take diabetes medication, insulin, diuretics, potassium-lowering medications, or if you have kidney disease, ulcers, severe acid reflux, or digestive disorders, speak with your healthcare provider before making major dietary changes. Natural does not always mean harmless. And this becomes even more important after 60, when medication interactions become more common. But the real reason this conversation matters goes deeper than hydration or vinegar. It leads us into one of the most misunderstood topics in all of longevity science: stem cells. You've probably heard dramatic claims online saying fasting activates stem cells and cures disease. That language is wildly oversimplified. But there is some fascinating science underneath the hype. Researchers studying fasting and cellular stress responses have observed that periods of controlled nutritional stress may trigger adaptive repair pathways inside the body. In simple language, the body sometimes repairs itself more efficiently when it temporarily experiences mild challenge rather than constant abundance. This includes pathways related to autophagy, inflammation control, mitochondrial repair, and cellular resilience. Some early research has also explored how fasting refeeding cycles may influence stem cell-related regeneration pathways in certain tissues. But this does not mean drinking vinegar water suddenly regenerates organs. And it absolutely does not mean people should aggressively fast without supervision, especially older adults who may already struggle with muscle loss, frailty, medication timing, or blood sugar instability. Because here's the danger nobody talks about. The aging body needs balance. Too much constant eating may overload metabolic systems, but excessive fasting may also accelerate muscle loss and weakness in vulnerable older adults. And after 60, preserving muscle becomes one of the strongest predictors of longevity, mobility, and independence. So the goal is not starvation. The goal is metabolic stability, hydration, inflammation control, better blood sugar regulation, and giving the body occasional opportunities to perform maintenance instead of constant processing. Now here's the biggest morning mistake I see people make. They drink water and then immediately flood the body with sugar. Sweet cereals, pastries, sugary coffee creamers, fruit juices with almost no fiber. And within minutes, blood sugar skyrockets, then crashes. Then cravings increase, energy falls, inflammation rises again, and the cycle repeats daily for years. But what happens if you support the body differently? Water first, hydration first, then a breakfast centered around protein, fiber, healthy fats, and stable energy. Eggs,
Greek yogurt, nuts, seeds, vegetables, protein-rich foods that reduce massive glucose swings. That single shift may influence energy, appetite, insulin stability, and inflammation far more than most trendy supplements. And this is where everything suddenly connects. The water is not the miracle. The lemon is not the miracle.
The vinegar is not the miracle. The real power comes from creating a biological environment that supports repair instead of constant stress. Lower inflammation, more stable blood sugar, better hydration, less metabolic chaos. And after 60, small daily signals repeated consistently often matter more than extreme interventions done occasionally. Because aging does not usually happen all at once. It happens through repeated biological stress accumulating quietly over time. And healthier aging works the same way. Small, supportive habits, repeated consistently for years. Now, does this guarantee protection from cancer or disease? Of course not. Cancer is incredibly complex. Genetics, environment, lifestyle, immune function, smoking history, obesity, alcohol, sleep, physical activity, and many other factors all play important roles. No drink can replace proper medical care, screenings, or treatment. But healthier metabolic health may help create conditions that support healthier aging overall. And that's the real message people need to hear. Your body already possesses extraordinary repair systems. The goal is not to chase miracle cures. The goal is to stop interrupting the biology designed to protect you in the first place. I'm Dr. Richard Vance. If you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments what you normally drink first thing in the morning. And if you've changed your hydration habits after 60, tell us what differences you noticed in your energy, digestion, or overall health. Make sure to subscribe, share this video with someone who needs it, and stay curious about how your body really works. Because the more you understand the biology of aging, the more powerfully you can influence it.